13, we're going to read verses 1 through 15. Everybody here can probably tell the first 8 or 9 verses of this parable, of this story. If I was to ask you to tell it, you could probably tell me the whole thing. And you'd probably be very close to word for word of the story. But the text verses 13, 14, and 15 are usually left off and left out because, well, they're a hard thing to preach. Jim, will you go back with Jeff and figure out why this is raining up here? Well, let's just go back and we'll look at this, all right? We know that in chapter 12, Jesus was talking quite a bit with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they were trying to corner Jesus, and they're asking him all kinds of questions in ways that are trying to put him down, in ways that are trying to know what the message was, but we know that they thought it was important enough to disturb him at that time. We also know that Jesus said something that could have been very hurtful to the family, and that was, forget about those guys out there. And he looked at the 12 disciples and he said, these 12, they're my family. The rest of you are and the blood family, well, they're not so much, just a few feet. One of the things I found interesting in this was Jesus must have tremendous balance. You see, I don't believe he sat in the boat and preached to people. People could not have heard him very well. So he had to have stood in the boat with it moving around because I'm sure Jesus wasn't one of these preachers. If you think I'm kidding, read the 4 Gospels. He was not. They spring up quickly and they eventually die. Then it talks about the ones that fall among the weeds and the thorns and the thistles, and it's the kind of ground that's at the edge of the field. Now, Granddad had perfect fields, and they were always clean and clear, but there was always a little bit at each edge of it. It always had some thistles there. It always had the weeds and the burrs in it, but there was always some seed got. It says at the end of it, "He who has ears, let him hear." And people look at that and they go, "Well, of course, he who has ears definitely hear." They never met me. Ask Miss Teresa. It happened last night. She gave me a question. Apparently I answered it, and I answered it incorrectly, and I also didn't remember the question or the answer 5 minutes later. It's the hearing thing, and ears don't always mean you hear. The disciples came to him afterwards, and they looked at him and they said, "Why are you speaking in stories? What's the big deal? Up till now you have been very pointed in what you have said." And there is really an amazing shift in what Jesus does here. Up to this point he'd been very straightforward. He'd gotten on to 15. This is why I tell things in a story form. Because though seeing they do not see, though hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. In them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. You will be ever hearing, but never understanding. You will be ever seeing, but never perceiving. For this people's heart has become callous. They hardly hear with their ears. They have closed their eyes. Otherwise they might see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their hearts and then turn, and I will heal them. What I do, and I do what I'm supposed to do, and that makes me a Christian. Does the prayer time at church mean anything? I'm not asking you if you get up every time you pray. But does it mean anything to you? Does the time of worship and song give you words to take home, hopefully words of encouragement. Many of you probably go home thinking I beat you up all the time, and I can't apologize for that. Just the words that you hear that God gives you, and this amazes me. How many people come to me after some show, Pastor, that was just great, especially that part about, I don't remember that part at all. How in the world did you come up with that? But that's what God put on their heart for what was said. Does that happen? Does the giving of God's word mean anything to you? Or have we become callous? Calluses are an interesting thing. I used to have a lot of them. First time in my life I was ever ashamed not to have calluses was about 3 years ago. We were playing basketball out in the gym. There's this little squirrely kid named Eli. And I swiped the ball from him and he grabbed my hand. He did it on purpose. He grabbed my hand like that. And I was dribbling over here anyway because he's just a little squirt. He stopped and relaxed it. You have soft teeth. Now, I'm a farm boy. I want you to know I was deeply ashamed. But the reality of it is, if somebody comes in contact with you spiritually, do you have soft hands? You see, what happens is, when in my life before I became a pastor, even for a couple of years after that, as I worked in outside pastor, the jobs gave me calluses across here, here, and here. Because the callus was there. There's no nerves in the callus. It's just built up, dead skin, and really not useful for a whole lot of anything. But it was there, and I had no nerves. I couldn't feel anything. The thing is that to get a callus, you do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and eventually the callus goes. We come to church over and over and over. We sing the same song over and over and over. We listen to the pastor over and over and over and over and over and over and over. At least I'm sure it seems that way. We listen to our Sunday school teachers over and over and over. Same material year after year, year after year. Same Bible, same books, same things year after year. And we grow a house, spiritually speaking. See, calluses, though, can be a great hindrance, especially spiritually. If we have become callous, but we're here for the right reasons, but we can't feel anything. We can't sense God. He doesn't seem real anymore. Calluses. We build up. We just do it by habit. My truck can get to Greenville almost by itself. Habit. I don't have to pay attention to the road I'm on. I know where I want to get off. I know where I want to do this, that, and another thing. And I can be singing at the top of my lungs, just going down the road and not really paying attention to anything because it knows where to go. And we do that spiritually. We know where to go. We know what to do. And the callus is there. And it's all, you know how to get rid of the callus? Cut it off. Well, yeah, you can do that. That's a little more painful than what I had in mind. Go swimming. Immerse yourself in water. If you're in water for about a half an hour or so, have you ever noticed your skin gets really, really good and this bit soft? And even the calluses, you come out of the pool and you can go like this, and the callus just begins to scrape away. And then they have those funny things in the shower called a loofah. Some fancy word for a rough sponge, I believe. But you can take those when you're in the water, when it gets soft, and rub them on. Who wants to guess where I'm going with this one? If you have to immerse yourself in water, what are you going to have to immerse yourself in? I'm sorry, I only heard one person.
Holy Spirit.
I'm sorry, I only heard a couple.
The Holy Spirit.
If you're going to immerse yourself in it, I expect you to talk like you're immersing yourself in it. You see, otherwise, it's just this thing of doing the same old thing time after time, expecting something to change, expecting Jesus to do something, and all we get for doing the same old thing all the time is a big callous. Sometimes we have to change the way we do things so God can work.
Amen.
And sometimes we have to sit back and let God do things instead of us getting in His road.
Amen.
Boy, that was a weak amen for that one. Miss Little brought a thing up. I can see if I can remember this well enough. A frog. This morning, a picture of a frog, and it says, Lord, I'm trying to do something or whatever. And God said, well, I wish you'd get out of the road so I could do it right, or something like that. And it's like, if we would just get out of His road sometimes. We make all of these plans, we make all of these things to do, and sometimes all we need to do is just back off and quit doing all these things and let God be God. But do we even know, and here's the callous part, do we even know what that looks like in the church anymore? We come together as a church and we have the same setup every week, and that's me. I like order. And 2, I don't like change. And 3, I don't like interruptions. If the Holy Spirit wants to do it, that's okay, but the rest of you just sit there and listen, you know what I'm saying? But I'm that way. But what if sometime for some reason, God would just come in and take off the callous and we could sense and feel His presence because we allowed Him to, because we had stepped back and were willing to do something different. Now, I don't know what that difference is. I've been in the church for so long, I don't know what it looks like. I don't. But we have got to do something. If we're going to do something for Jesus, we can't do the same old thing, and we have to change our personal lives first.
Amen.
Why do you come to church? The other question I asked last week is, why do you serve Jesus? Well, I do because I've always done it, because Dad and Mom did, because Grandma and Grandpa did, because I was raised in the church, because, somebody said I had to. Some great evangelist named Sweely was in the church and said, you have to serve Jesus. And I said, okay. So I'm doing it, I'm used to it, and I've got calluses, and I can't feel, I can't sense. I don't do anything other than what I've been told to do. What if we let Jesus tell us what to do instead of a pastor, or a Sunday school teacher, or an evangelist, or God give us somebody on TV that wants to preach God's love? What if we let God be God?
Amen.
Somebody put that kind of funny when God is love, by the way. I meant that teaches that. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there so nobody can go home and say, Pastor said, just go, amen. Another case in point. The church is so bound up with doing the same thing because so many houses. I went to District of Sunwood this evening, which is why, by the way, there's no church this evening. I know what to expect from the moment I walk in to the moment I leave. There'll be a couple of good sermons in the evening, but the rest of it will be business as usual, and very little of it will have anything to do with God. I'm not knocking the district. That's what we've been trained to do. We are so calloused in what we do. Now y'all think I'm really knocking the church, don't you? Yeah, y'all feeling like he's stepping on you a little bit? That was that's part of it. They go back to that thing. individual. See, this kind of bothered me this week. I had a phone call and text about, doing new things at church. My first response was to say, well, we can't because of this, 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 and we can't because of this, but yeah, that's a good idea. We are so callous that we no longer care to be committed. So, in talking with this individual and then another one later, that thought was put to me that we're so callous we can't be committed. We're so used to the same old thing. I don't want to feel anything. I don't want to change. I'm afraid to. I don't like change all that well. Anybody here really like change? I mean, really? We're kind of all set in our ways. No, I like change. It's a faster roller coaster or a taller water slide. Those kind of things are good change. Fun change. Or maybe a good trip. You like that. That's a good change. You come to church. What do you see? In your personal life, what do you see? In your personal life, when God speaks, do you hear? Or are we so callous? Notice I keep saying we, including me. Are we so callous that we no longer even hear Him? We're not sure what His voice is. Well, I'm a good Christian, Pastor, I know. Praise God. But for the rest of us, they're really honest. Do we know? Are we so callous that we don't want to be committed to Christ because we don't know Him? It's all about Him. We no longer feel the compassion that Jesus talks about. See the pain. See, I read this book. This is a crack. This video. She gave me a mission book last week, I believe. I finished it yesterday and just pulled this all together. And I read the first 3 chapters of that book. And I'll be very honest with you. The only reason I went on to the last 2 chapters was because Miss Peggy wanted me to read that book. It was like, you have got to be kidding. This is a bad book. But the last 2 chapters were an amazing thing about a man who was willing to try new things. Because one day on his way to church, Sunday morning, I'll tell you the last chapter. Something changed in his life, in his congregation. It had been this way, the same, he was new to the church, and they had even had to use it as a new start, restart kind of thing, and they were growing a little bit kind of thing, but, they were kind of cut off from the community, and he shows up one morning for his prayer time before church. The streets are roped off with police tape. The house directly across the street. There's policemen all around it, cars, and it's all taped off. He walked up to an officer and said, "That's my church, and I'd like to, have service in a little while. And there'll be some people coming through. Is that okay?" And what happened? There's an 11-year-old boy that lived in the house. He took his own life. And the pastor telling the story says, "I did not know there was an 11-year-old boy that lived in the house." The speaker for the day was the district superintendent. The district superintendent came and he was preaching, and the pastor stood up and he says, I think we need to go outside and pray. So in the middle of all the hubbub that's going on out on the street, all of the police, all the onlookers, the crowd, the pastor said, we're going to go out and pray, whether if you want to stay for 2 minutes or a couple hours or whatever you want. We're going to pray quietly. We're not going to make a big scene, but we're just going to go out here right in front of the church. And we're going to pray. Cool things happened because they were not praying. The community gathered around, slowly came in from the sides, and began to have this huge prayer meeting, silently, but a huge prayer meeting out there in the street. Their church began to grow because they got rid of the callous setting. It took the death of a young 11-year-old boy across the street to get rid of the callous on the pastor's heart and the heart of the church. Callousness of heart. See, I ask for the simple reason: if you've got a heart that bleeds for what Jesus' heart bleeds for, then why in the world aren't we going the old-fashioned method sometimes is best, knocking door to door, just your neighborhood, saying, do you know Jesus? Who cares if they come to this church, but do you know Jesus? How many of us know within our coworkers know Jesus? And I don't mean just the one that sits next to you on one side or the other that you're always busy with, but those ones you bump into in the hall and you know their name, and you know it's just an occasional thing, just an acquaintance in reality. But do you ever think enough about them? Does your heart bleed for them enough to say, do you know Jesus? Okay, that's just a little bold for most of us, isn't it? Once Gene started this early, what if we would just simply answer, because it always comes up. You ask somebody, hey, how you doing? Great, man. How are you? Well, man, I am blessed. God is good. If you would do that 2 or 3 days in a row, first you may scare them. Secondly, they're going to ask you, why is life so good? We are so calloused that we don't see. We're so calloused we don't hear it. The reality is not just the church, but the individuals in the church, you and me. We just kind of drift through life. I'm saved and sanctified, and God lets them come along and go. Now again, you see, I don't have any great visions for the church. I'm not a vision caster maker. I'd love to see the church so packed out that we had 2 or 3 services on Sunday, just because people began to drop away the calluses and ask, do you know Jesus? I don't think we have to have these huge programs. I think all we have to do is get rid of the calluses and begin to feel the pain of the lost around us. I'm not a good one to talk about. You guys know me, I'm emotional. But there's this thing about Jesus that just keeps crying at me, keeps digging at me. And this callous is slowly falling away, and I see why we're so free to use it. What if we were to begin to do something simple suggested in that book? They had different people in church, not everybody there, just the ones who felt comfortable with school. But begin monthly to make a walk just around their block. They didn't cover the one next to them, but just around their block. And they'd go around the block and say hi to neighbors and ask them how they do. She was past that by taking one whole evening of the week. in a month, that's not bad. I mean, it's just the cows. By the way, I'm going to read scripture again because I want you to understand it's not me talking about this cows being here. It's Jesus talking to his people, the people of his time. He's talking to the people of our time when he gives us the seeing they do not see, the hearing they do not hear nor understand. Because of the prophecy of Isaiah that they are fulfilling, you will be ever hearing but never understanding, ever seeing but never perceiving. For the people's hearts